you've heard rumors of augmented reality headsets becoming a reality soon-ish. They've been around for years, of course, but I think they will materialize one day. And we will be living in a world where augmented reality will, have an everyday use. Just like right now, smartphones are our small portals into this world. We will be living in a much more AR-enabled life.
Hi everyone, and welcome yet to another exciting episode of NEWFORUM, and we're always happy to bring you awesome creators, founders, visionaries, and investors on our podcast. And on today's episode, I'm super happy to have with me Maxim Raykhrud, who is the CPO at ZERO10, an A&R fashion platform providing innovative tech solutions for brands entering the digital world. And yeah, I'm super excited to talk about the project and what he sees for the future of digital fashion. Hi, Maxim.
Hello, it's such a pleasure to be here, of course, with you tonight. I would be very happy to tell more about ZERO10 and what we do here, and so on and so on.
Amazing. So maybe we can talk about your background and how you got into the project, and then you could tell us a bit about what is ZERO10, what is the platform, and how we use it.
Of course. Well, I mean, I'm a hired person here. I'm not one of the founders at ZERO10, but I absolutely loved the concept when I first encountered the company late last year. Back then, I was working at a startup that was doing reading analytics based on eye tracking and electroencephalography data. I saw these guys and I thought, wow, this is also something from the future, similar to what I was doing at the time. And I decided to join the company eventually. I've always been into fashion, I've always been into clothing, and I've always been into innovative solutions for existing problems. And what appealed to me the most was that ZERO10 was not just doing some cool tech or just some entertainment stuff that, which is often the case with companies doing augmented reality visuals, but they had a mission, they had this goal of digital fashion becoming one of the normal things, like in this world of clothing in general. And because of all of the overconsumption happening in the world, because of all of the overproduction, because of all of the horrible stores that sell cheap things made by slave labor. And this is like a very common occurrence in today's world. I was very much inspired by the whole goal of separating, I guess, practical garments and purely show-off garments, and like making the latter digital, virtual. So instead of being produced to be worn only once, they would never be produced, but they would exist in a virtual reality. And this was something that appealed to me immediately.
Amazing. Yeah. So how could you walk me like through the platform or like what is happening on there? So you have the digital garments. I mean, I used ZERO10 before, but you have these digital garments made by a fashion designer, and then you basically can use them on yourself, as AR, right? And so what do you think? Why is this going to be so appealing in the future?
Well, I think we are on the verge of something big happening in this world. We are seeing interest from brands rise over time. We're seeing increasing interest from designers. We're seeing more and more designs appearing. And the platform is not just, the visual try-on. It's something bigger than that because, we're working on an insane number of projects right now. We will be working on even more projects, and all of this sort of fit into the whole narrative of us becoming slowly but steadily a platform where one could show off what they have created, where one could buy items, where one could keep records of their item ownership, and where one could use these items in augmented reality as if they were real, at least for the social networks. We're also thinking about ways to export owned items to other platforms, because we obviously realize that people don't just live in the real world anymore. It's been the norm for actually even longer than the metaverse became like a common term, because it was always like online games and so on and so on. But right now we are living in a world where this is common, this is normal now. And we see ourselves as eventually and hopefully a key player in this whole ecosystem of clothing that doesn't exist in real life. So right now, yeah, there are some items that are replicas, digital twins of existing garments. There are some items that are purely virtual. We did a competition last summer, I mean this summer actually, with incredible amount of submissions. We had over 200 designs that were actually accepted as contestants in the end, so they were incredibly high quality. And out of this, we eventually, originally, we only wanted to release like the top three, but we saw the incredible potential. We saw the incredible creativity in these designs. So we actually had to find a way to give them real augmented reality life, which is why we collaborated with a number of blogs and publications and influencers to bring them to life as their selections. So they chose their favorites out of this incredible amount of designs. So, and this means that there is a huge amount of creativity waiting to be unleashed. We are seeing that the existing platforms are not good enough for these designers. They want the best. They want to be with us.
I think I look back at digital fashion at the beginning of the pandemic, where I really first time stumbled upon it, and I saw it as well, like the insane potential. But for me, it was kind of far away still, because the technology wasn't quite, like, it didn't look super realistic. But now with apps like ZERO10, I feel like you can really see, like, you can take a picture and it almost looks like you're wearing like a normal garment. So the potential is really there. And I'm wondering, how do you see like the world of, like, you mentioned the metaverse a bit, but I'm wondering, how do you see like NFTs, gaming, and all of these things influence the commerce and the fashion industry right now?
Well, I mean, right now, I think we are still at the stage where NFTs are viewed as this oddity. So big fashion brands just do NFTs sometimes because, I mean, they don't really have practical purpose for them, or at least they try to find, I mean, with clothing especially, it's a complicated thing. So they try to find some sort of purpose for the NFTs, but they are not yet at the stage where they could, do usable NFTs. And this is where we come into the game. And this is something that we already do, actually. We have, I think we still have a few NFTs of our latest collaboration with Crosby Studios. Like, we have an NFT of a wonderful pair of trousers. We also did like several exclusive items in the past. They're all sold out. We know that NFTs could have a practical purpose, and this is actually something that I absolutely love about ZERO10, is that so often NFTs could be misused, or they could be limited to just a pure token, whereas here it's a very, very simple visceral connection between having a token and having something that you get because you have it, which is very rare nowadays still. But there are incredible startups, of course, other than ZERO10, that are doing some wonderful things with NFTs. But I think we are unique, when it comes to fashion NFTs, because I couldn't easily remember any other examples of fashion NFTs providing you with a usable clothing item, even if it's just augmented reality.
Yeah, and I feel like also when I looked at the pieces, they seemed like very selected and really like curated, which is but something I was like first a bit when I first saw digital fashion, I was like, this is really it doesn't look like fashion, So I feel like now we're at a stage where I can see the potential for all these luxury brands now thinking about entering the market and really thinking about, okay, how can we long term put this into our business model, or how can we long term be part of that world? And I think it's great for, like you said, the sustainability aspect, because we take more, okay, maybe I don't need to have 50 jackets, but I can have one jacket and 2 NFTs of that jacket, or something like that, And I'm wondering, what has been, you following the story of ZERO10, like what has been the most exciting thing for you to see while being part of your work? And what have you been the most passionate about?
The competition we're in this summer that I mentioned earlier was an absolute blast, because I mean, we did it, using simple solutions, tried to make it as lean as possible, but it provided incredible results, and it showed the sheer amount of creativity out there, and that was absolutely amazing. Just stunning to see all these people want to, be part of our platform, and this has led us towards, thinking about opening it up, making it, I mean, of course, as you mentioned earlier, it's curated, and we still want to live in the curation bit, but we also want to give people more space. So maybe we'll keep the curation, and maybe we still will allow people to do things without that curation necessarily still on our platform, because, so that was one thing that absolutely definitely inspired me. We also launched Photo Try-On this summer. So basically, originally we only did live camera try-on, the most impressive stuff, basically, where you move and the garment moves with you, risk fabric simulation, and so on. But we thought that we needed a new point of entry. So, I mean, like, if your first time with the app is, say, on the tube or in the car or somewhere where you couldn't take pictures, we still want you to have this magical experience, because, I mean, for us, like, the first magic moment is what makes it or breaks it, what gives us this, either you stay with us or you leave. So we added this option to just take any of your gallery photos featuring the full body of someone, perhaps you, and that gave us incredible results. So we improved our conversion rates, but not necessarily we gave people this incredible creative tool, because now you could take any picture you have of yourself, taken earlier, even take a picture of your grandma when she was young, and you could apply digital garments onto that. So this is something that on some other platforms is done manually. It takes some time. It costs a lot of money, but here it's free. It's instantaneous, like a couple of seconds, and you can do it as long as you want to. So I think this was actually one of the biggest equalizers we did. Like, I mean, because it allows anyone, no matter what their current situation, like where they are right now, or if they're like even in the mood, they can still play with the app. They can still play with all their old photos. They can dress themselves up, and they could have fun, but not necessarily than just fun. They could, express themselves or maybe do something incredibly creative. We are seeing a lot of wonderful Instagram posts, stories just happen all the time, and like people always inspire us.
Yes, we're gonna link in some pictures for you guys to see, and I think that's really cool. You found a way for like us Web2 native people to just use like the filter option to. It's much more easier maybe, or more familiar than the camera option, and you can put it, like you said, on any picture and play around with it. I think that's really great, and I'm wondering, like, where do you see like the project evolving to? Like, if it would be up to you, like the next 2-3 years, like where would you see the project evolve into?
I mean, we have a plan, so I'll just tell you some sneak peeks, perhaps. We're definitely going to become, I mean, right now it's just a simple app where you have a list of collections, you have like normal drop collections and open call collections. You just scroll through the collections, swipe through the items, find what you like. But this is obviously not going to stay as simple when we get to 100 items or 200 items or 300 items, which is obviously going to happen. And rather fortunately for us, it's going to happen sooner than later. So we are going to transform the app into something that will still have this magic feeling of you just exploring something wonderful, but will also function as a proper platform. I mean, much like, I guess, OpenSea, perhaps, or maybe even Farfetch, but for digital clothing. So we'll be introducing slowly, but surely, of course, monetization for creators, because we realize that people want to sell their creations, they want to get money out of that. Actually, we were getting a lot of requests from the designers to participate in our open call competition. They were like, hey, could we sell it, something through your app? Because like we see the interest, people want to buy this. And we're like, well, sort of, but it's not as easy right now as it would be. We would obviously be doing something to connect better to the other users for the garments. So perhaps some metaverse applications, some virtual reality stuff. We will, I mean, once again, it's not going to be happening overnight. It's not going to be happening within the next month, but we will definitely be working more on that. And there is another thing we're also doing here at ZERO10. So apart from the whole platform for the creatives and, creating new tools for the creatives, giving them an easier way to transform the traditional high polygonal models into low polygonal models that are used in augmented reality, because that's always a problem. That's always a hard thing to do, and we're working on tools that will ease it up. But besides all of this community, all of this platform thing, we also have a smaller but a very interesting B2B branch of the company inside. It's not really like, separated in any ways, but we think we also have some solutions for the business. And when it comes to solutions for the business, that includes the conventional things like an SDK that allows you to try on items with the same ZERO10 tech within another e-commerce app. We actually just recently were in the final stages of development. It looks good because it's just the same exact app. It's separated, but we also have something that's absolutely incredible, I think, and that's the ZERO10 AI mirror. So this is a huge screen with a connected camera that runs the same technology at high resolution, higher quality, higher frame rate, basically better everything. And we showcased that to select a few visitors in our New York pop-up store that happened in September. It was a huge success. We recently posted that on our social networks, on LinkedIn, and we are seeing some incredible comments. So we think this tech, which essentially is our core technology, just applied through a different medium, will also be perhaps very useful for traditional commerce, for advertising, for many things. And we just don't want this tech to be limited to our platform. We are very much open to the others using our technology if it benefits the world.
Wow, I'm blown away actually. Like, and you said like you tested that in a store in New York, and people could use it in front of the mirror, or how was that like applied?
Well, I mean, it's not. Okay, so what we call an AI mirror is basically a huge TV with a camera, which functions as a mirror that applies virtual clothes to your body. So it's essentially a huge version of ZERO10.
Wow.
And yeah. So we did like this pop-up store in New York City in September with Crosby Studios. It was a collaboration where basically we showcased the collection they designed. They are a fantastic team that worked with the likes of Balenciaga, Valentino, I think Nike, Dover Street Market. So they're, very much at the forefront of exciting new kind of retail spaces. And they did like this one-of-a-kind retail space for augmented reality clothing. So no clothing, it's a shop, but it was a complete reimagination of what a shop could be when the physical clothes are no longer necessary for a shop. Anyway, so yeah, that was a huge success as well. But out there we had this prototype. It was shown to select visitors, and yeah, they were impressed.
I mean, this is quite huge. This sounds amazing, and I can't wait to go into the store one day somewhere in the world and try that if it's accessible. Just
hopefully
thinking,
sooner than later.
Yeah, like honestly, we need to make that happen, because I always feel like in stores there's always sometimes store design is so nice, and it would even it would be so cool to just try that out. I'm super keen and looking forward to that. And I'm wondering, what do you think are still some challenges with, you mentioned the interoperability of things, and what are some of the challenges that you face but now overcome?
Well, I mean, one of the biggest challenges in the world, of course, is, there are a few challenges. Let's start with the most basic one. People are still very much new to the concept of virtual clothing. It's hard to explain, and sometimes it's obviously it's not obvious what this is. Why do I need this? The use cases exist, but people are not ready to process it yet, I think. But this is absolutely fine, because we see how people already treat real clothes as if they were virtual. Just buy something on a major website somewhere in China, wear it once, throw it away. It could have been a virtual item, but unfortunately someone had to make it, someone had to ship it, someone had to buy it. So I think people will adopt slowly, and they will be more ready for virtual clothing. But that's something we're working on, and something that's definitely changing in the world right now. The other concern, of course, is that right now it's not as easy to become a virtual clothing creator as it is, for example, to become a streetwear brand owner. Because when it comes to virtual clothing, you have to know a lot of technical things. You have to know how to work with. Virtual clothing is a very interesting intersection of 3D and actual clothing design skills. So at this intersection, there are some very talented people, but we will have to make this more accessible to the others. So just like in the real world, If you go to a print shop, if you get a blank canvas item and you manage to create a cool design, you sort of become a designer. At least, I mean, you do. And then, I mean, slowly you could progress. But we want to, make this as easy in the virtual world as it is in the real world. So this is something we will be working on in the future. And because we need to make virtual clothing, more accessible, not just for consumption, but also for creation. And even if you have the technical skills, once again, it's very hard right now to convert things on your own. So we are working on a set of tools. We have a fantastic tech team. We're very, very lucky to have these people with us. They are all incredibly talented. We also have a fantastic in-house 3D team. Once again, very lucky to have these people on board. But the combination of their skills gives us some incredible results because these people know their trades very, very, very well. So we are working on a set of automation solutions that would bring together the capabilities of machine learning powered tech, the knowledge, the insider knowledge of people who have worked on digital clothing for years, and create tools that will automate processes that now take days into, to take just minutes. This will take time. It will not happen overnight. Once again, nothing does really. But this is something we will be very, very happy to release once it's done.
I'm sure a lot of creators will be happy as well because I myself tried out, 3D softwares, and it's nice when you have your design, but getting it onto Snapchat or getting it onto an app is still a bit of a question of how to do that. Or, it's like almost you have to be a developer and a designer and all of these other things. So I'm very looking forward to you guys realizing that in the future. I'm wondering, so do you think, like, let's say in the future, we're looking ahead in the future, 1-2 years from now, do you think we're gonna have this digital fashion like more and more constantly integrated into our lives?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you've heard rumors of augmented reality headsets becoming a reality soon-ish. They've been around for years, of course, but I think they will materialize one day. And we will be living in a world where augmented reality will, have an everyday use. Just like right now, smartphones are our small portals into this world. We will be living in a much more AR-enabled life. And I think this will empower incredible amounts of creativity, personalization, and just it will be much easier to use augmented reality tools to show off your personality out there in the real world, because the others will be wearing AR glasses. They will be able to actually see you wear this amazing garment. So we just have to wait until we get there. But before that happens, I think we will still have a slow, maybe, actually, no, we won't have a slow. We will definitely still will have some incredible growth when it will come to augmented reality fashion. It will have its practical purposes. It will be for show off only. I don't know what's going to happen really. I mean, like maybe in the future there will be like a new subculture where people will only wear digital clothes. So like, back in the days, punks, mods, goths, rockers, they all had their own clothing and it was real. But maybe the next cool subculture will wear digital clothing. I think this will be the best moment really for us.
That is incredible. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing this digital fashion punk movement happen, and I think it makes sense. Like, I remember reading a lot about the fashion industry. Is you realize how much really goes into that supply chain that is behind starting a brand and what's happening there. So I feel like this opens up a lot of possibilities for designers to just explore other ways of making fashion, expressing themselves. And yeah, thank you so much, Maxim, for being part of today's forum. What is some like core advice you can give to like maybe digital fashion designers starting out there and entrepreneurs venturing into the digital fashion space?
Well, I mean, okay, the space is very much still developing, so there is a lot of things to do. Don't be afraid of anything, just do anything you want, because there is enough space for everyone. Even if you want to make traditional garments that exist in real life in virtuality, there is always room for that. If you want to make outlandish stuff, there is room for that. Don't be yourself, create incredible garments, don't be afraid to make any mistakes. Just continuously create better and better things, and of course join ZERO10 platform when we open up later. But yeah, I think the world really needs more designs. The world needs more projects like ours. We need competitors. So we'll be very, very, very welcoming to any competition we see out there.
Amazing. And to join the ZERO10 community, do you guys have a Discord?
We do have a Discord.
Amazing.
And this is where some incredible discussions have been happening lately, and I think it's going to become more lively as we, slowly open up the platform and allow more people to publish their designs in ZERO10. So it's time to join now to be an early bird.
Yes, so we're going to link everything down below where you can find the Discord and everything. And I want to thank you, Maxim, for really I feel like I just got new ideas and new insights on what is happening within the space. And I feel like everyone of the community is going to enjoy it. So thank you so much for being here today, and have a great day. And I see you guys in the next episode of NEWFORUM.
Thank you. Good luck.